again, getting tipsy with Erin on Thursdays. Coming to you live from the office. I want to make sure that this is actually working. Let's see. Comment below if you can see me or wave. Yep, I think it's working. I'm going to give people a few minutes to get on. On today's topic, we're going to talk about the number one thing to focus on while house hunting. So I think I got the light a little better today. So as we continue to do these, we'll get better. I'm also a little bit further away from the screen, so hopefully that's better. Again, I'm going to give everyone a little bit of time. I'm drinking my big gulp. It's still during the day, so we're not quite getting tipsy yet, but I'm going to give you some tips. I'll tell you a funny story since we're waiting for a few minutes. Went to celebrate my friend last night. She's in finance, and she passed a huge exam on Monday. And we were at Murphy's at the oceanfront. Happy belated birthday, Chip. And I was drinking Guinness Blonde. So she went to have her second beer. And she said, I want to drink what Erin's drinking. And they said, well, what is drinking? And she asked for a white Yingling. So next time you order a Guinness Blonde, you can call it a white Yingling. That's my little beer joke for you for today. Comment below and tell me what types of beer you like. I drink IPA. My husband says chewy beers. But tell me what type of beer you like. And at some point, maybe we'll take this to a brewery. We can do some tastings as well. All right, we got a few people on. Comment below. Say hi. Tell me you're here. So today, last week we talked about 4 tips on getting your house sold, maximizing the demand for your house and getting the most value for your house. I had a bunch of people DM me and get my free guide, no strings attached. That was on the seller side. Feel free to send me a message, comment below, give me your email address. I'll send that to you. I still have it. It's a freebie. It's yours. Take it, use it. Today, we are talking about house hunting. So the number one thing to focus on while house hunting, right? So this is for all house hunters, soon-to-be house hunters, future house hunters. Here's my free tip for you. Number one thing to focus on, so you don't have any buyer's remorse. If you know me, you know this. If you don't know me, I'm going to tell you. I am brutally honest. So I'm going to help you with the one thing so that you won't regret the house you buy. Because buying a house is a big deal. I tell all my home buyers, buying a house isn't like the bicycle that you buy one summer, and then at the end of the summer you're like, ugh, I didn't like this bike. And next summer you go down to the hardware store and buy yourself a new bike. Like, buying a house is a huge investment. It's the biggest investment you make during your life usually. So whether it's your first house or your third house, it's usually the largest investment you're going to make. So done this a few times, helped a few home buyers, caught on to a few tips and tricks, and I'm going to help you. So get your coffee, get your big gulp Diet Coke. I do, for those that are concerned about my soda drinking, I do drink water. So here's my water bottle. I drink both during the day. Here's the number one thing to focus on while house hunting. The things you can't change. We all walk around the house with our iPhones, or we're taking pictures, and we get caught up with the new quartz countertops or the stainless steel, the sinks, the sinks that you can wipe in. When we did our kitchen, my husband wanted the inlaid sink so you could wipe into the sink, or those type of things. But what's the thing you can't change? Let's get past that ugly shag carpet, or looking at the pictures and figuring out if you know the people, or those weird light fixtures, or maybe seeing the light fixtures you saw at IKEA, and saying, oh, they look normal in this house. I didn't think they'd look normal somewhere else. And let's realign that vision and think about what are the things we focus on. So what are the things we can't change? So I'm going to give you 3 things that I always tell my buyers. There are things you can't change. And you may have a couple more. Feel free to comment below. First is the location. So how does that location play into your lifestyle? Is it a comfortable driving distance from your work? Is it comfortable? There's two parts of location. Is it a comfortable driving distance from your work, from your family, from the things you like to do? Do you go to the grocery store? Is it good for that? Is it good for rest? Do you want to be near restaurants? Do you want to be able to ride your bike somewhere? My husband and I ride our bikes down to the boardwalk. And so we're just a mile from the ocean front. Are you near the brewery? Getting tipsy. So are you around those kind of things? Is it something like that? My husband jokes about that I live, if you know Hilltop, the Hilltop area. My office is around Hilltop. My gym is around Hilltop. Where I shop is around Hilltop. Where we eat is around Hilltop. And our home is less than 3 miles from Hilltop. So he says everything's within my bubble and I don't go outside of the bubble. And so I live within the bubble and I probably won't ever move much outside of that bubble. So that's my location. Another thing with location is what's around you. So check out the different neighborhoods. I had one buyer, we were looking at houses one morning and she eliminated all 3 houses very quickly. And afterwards she said, I don't want to live near a train track because I grew up near a train track and the sound, I can't deal with it. So then moving forward, I always looked at a map and made sure there were no train tracks. Or I had another buyer found her dream home. We started writing on it and I said, I want to find out what's this lot behind and what will this ever be. We discovered that a church had purchased the lot. And then I deep dove into what was happening. And the church was in the process of building a halfway house. They were getting permits and plans to build a halfway house on that lot. So she decided not to purchase the home. So know what's around you, know what's going to be around you, and whether you want to be near that or not. So that's all location. The one thing you can't do is you cannot pick up you can, but you're not going to pick up a house and move it. So the location is important. Another thing is layout. Now there's things we can do with layouts, right? We can take down walls. Nowadays you can put up beams. You can support mostly everything. And so people want open concept, but sometimes it's just too much. It's too expensive. And are you at the top of your budget and you're not going to have that money to do those layout things? Or does it not make sense? I have a buyer right now. He's closing actually on Monday. And we saw a house back in Thanksgiving. And he said, Erin, this is it. I want this house. And they had turned a 1-story home into a 2-story home by converting the attic. And I said, this isn't it. And the second floor was where the master was. And the bathroom was a half bath in the master. And the roof line, you couldn't stand up. And he said, well, I'll make that into I'll make it into a full bath. And I was like, how are you going to shower like this? Like, how's that going to work? And then he said, well, I can blow out the roof and I can do this. And then I said, well, what are you going to, how are you going to do this? And then what about they didn't have actual ductwork up there for the AC. They had window units on either end. He said, well, then I can run ductwork in the scuttles. And it was just too much. And it didn't make sense. So yes, you can alter a layout, but at some point you're doing too much and it's not making sense. I ended up kind of crushing his dreams on that house and telling him it didn't make sense. Again, I'm brutally honest. And about 3 weeks later, a house came up on the market and that is his dream house. And we are closing on it on Monday. And he's super excited. He actually texted me today and said he can't wait to pop a bottle of champagne. And we're going to do that on Monday at about 3 o'clock. So very excited for that. So layout. Look at the layout, see what makes sense for you and what can and can't be changed. Another thing with layout is like bedrooms, especially for people with kids. Do you want your kids on the same floor? Do you want them on a different floor? Do you want them on one side of the house and you on the other side of the house? Do you want to all be on the same side of the house? People have different preferences, and houses are all laid out different. So let's pay attention to that because you can, again, make some changes, but you're not going to make them all. And financially, it might not make sense to make them all. Lastly is square footage. And people say, obviously you can change square footage. You can put an addition on. But again, if you're at the top of your budget, that might not make sense for you right now. And if you're not planning on being in this home for 20 years, it might not make sense for you at all. I had a client who was in a home and they significantly need square footage. They bought a home that's about 1,700 square feet. It's 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. They had 1 child. And within 3 years, they had 2 more children. So they have 3 children, and they live in a 3 bedroom, 2.5 square foot home, or 2.5 bathroom home that's about 1,700 square feet. And so they wanted to look for another home. And not only do they need the bedrooms, they need the living space too. And we looked at a home. She was obsessed with this home, and we kept looking at it, and I kept telling her this living space is not that much more. But she kept, yes, it is. It's so much more, and it's brand new, and it's beautiful, and, you know, great. I finally got because it was new construction, I got the builder's plans, so I had the measurements for the room. So I gave her the measurements for the living space, and I said, now I want you to go and measure your living room. And the living room was literally 1 foot bigger widthwise and 1 foot bigger lengthwise. And it was that she realized it's really not bigger, it just looks bigger. Because A, it's empty, and B, it's new. So square footage, again, you know, you can only change but so much. And financially, it doesn't necessarily make sense to do an addition. So, and think about, you know, how much space you really need. So it's easy to get distracted by, you know, Pottery Barn style home decor or perfect paint colors and great shiny quartz countertops and beautiful staging. But to recap, the number one thing you want to focus on while you're house hunting, this is my freebie tip for Thursday, number one thing is the thing you cannot change, or the things you cannot change. And my 3 that I'll give you to focus on are location, layout, and square footage. If you have any others, feel free to comment below and tell me, share them with everyone, and let me know. So also, you may want to determine how much work you're willing to put into the house. If you're a DIY person that's, you know, willing to do a lot of stuff, or you're like me and I'm not even willing to pick up a paintbrush. I mean, I'll pick up a paintbrush, but other than that, like, it's pretty much my limit. We tried to replace the plunger in a toilet one time. Didn't work out really well. I came home and actually from showing houses, and we had tried, and then my husband tried after I left, and then I came back and we tried again, and next thing you knew, there was like pieces of the toilet all over the living room, and I had to call somebody, and thanks Richard Cobb came and fixed it for me. He works for Howard Hanna, and he made it all better. It was bad. But anyway, so important things to know. So thanks for tuning in this week to the one most important thing to know when house hunting. If you want to see more video topics, let me know below in the comments, message me to share your ideas. Tune in next week. What are we talking about next week? Oh, next week is now a good time to sell. And we'll talk about that. If you have any ideas about things, let me know. Any questions, let me know. And I appreciate you tuning in, and I'll talk to you next week. So getting tipsy with Erin. Bye guys. Have a good day.